Welcome to Skin Deep with your host, Sharon Morton. She's scratching below the surface and bringing you the power to make informed decisions about what's in our food, water, and products that we bring into our homes that affect our bodies. It's a show that will help you heal your mind, body, and soul. So stay tuned for all things that are skin deep.
Welcome to Skin Deep here on SiriusXM. I'm your host, Sharon Morton, and today I have my special guest, millennial writer and health enthusiast, Aysia Monet.
Hello.
Hello, Aysia. She's a young African-American woman who practices clean eating and is hoping to one day go from her vegetarian lifestyle to a vegan one. We're going to find out whether Aysia's journey has been an easy or challenging one. And as I always say, we're going to be doing more than just scratching the surface. Here on Skin Deep, we're giving you the power to make informed decisions about what's in your food, your water, and so many other things that affect our bodies. And today, there's a segment of the population that are more conscious than ever before about what they eat. They're millennials. Choosing a vegetarian, vegan, or pescatarian lifestyle is no longer the exception for them. It's the rule. And unlike the days of yesteryear, today we have hundreds of places, from grocery stores to restaurants, to choose from when it comes to selecting healthy food. So even if you're thinking about being a vegetarian and want to ease your way into it instead of going cold turkey, my guest Aysia Monet is going to give you some no pressure and no judgment tips on easing into that lifestyle. And listen, we know it isn't easy. As Langston Hughes said, life ain't no crystal stair, but we are what we eat, and health is the new wealth. Good health is priceless because without it, you can't do much of anything. So I want you to stay tuned as we're bringing you valuable information that you just can't afford to miss right here on Skin Deep. Welcome back to Skin Deep. As I said earlier, I have millennial writer and health enthusiast Aysia Monet on the show with me today. Welcome to Skin Deep, Aysia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You know what, Aysia? I am so excited about millennials today. Although sometimes you guys get a bad rap, you're doing so much more than people of my generation. And one of those great things that you're doing is that you're eating better and healthier.
Yeah, a lot of us are.
Yeah, you're making an informed decision, a conscious decision to eat what's good for your body. And you have so many choices today. Unlike when I was your age, there was one or two grocery stores and, everybody ate the same thing and we were all meat eaters. But a lot of your friends and even some of your relatives, classmates, you all have chosen to eat better, and you are a vegetarian, right?
Yes, I am a vegetarian, so I do not eat meat, but I do eat plant-based foods and sometimes cheese.
Okay. Well, that's what a vegetarian is, right? Where you're just eating plant-based foods, right?
Right, so.
And when did you become a vegetarian?
I became a vegetarian in high school. I watched a documentary on Netflix, and it was about, I think it was called Food Incorporated, about the meat and the dairy and the processed foods that are kind of saturated in our time today. And it just turned me off to eating meat. It was kind of gross and disgusting. And so I decided to be a vegetarian, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to try this for a week, and then it stuck with me.
Right.
And that's how I've been going from there.
Well, was it hard, though, to give up meat? Like, did your family continue to eat meat and you chose not to?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it wasn't as hard as I thought. So I went to high school, and the high school that I went to gave a lot of options for food. That's one thing I was very blessed to have. So it wasn't like I had to eat meat. In my home, my parents and my family were very supportive of my decision. And so it's not like, I was kind of forced to
eat what
was there. Yeah.
Right.
So I did have a lot of options. So in the beginning, it wasn't that bad until I got to college and the options kind of shrunk in size. So
right. And that must have been a challenge as well. Before you get into that about, the challenge in college trying to stick to being a vegetarian, you said watching the Netflix documentary
Right.
made you decide to stop eating meat. And you said you went to a high school where you had options.
Yeah.
There were, vegetarian options for you.
They're vegetarian, vegan, different, if you're allergic to dairy, there are a whole bunch of options.
Now, you were very fortunate, as you said earlier. What about kids who are interested in being vegetarian who don't have those kinds of options in school?
Right. So unfortunately, especially in public schools, there aren't a lot of options for kids who want to switch to being vegetarian. But I would just say do your research. There's more information on vegetarian and vegan lifestyles than ever before. YouTube, I go on YouTube all the time and literally just type in, cheap vegetarian meals.
Okay.
And you can go to the store and about $20, $30 and hopefully get a week's worth of food if you use the food correctly.
Okay, that's good. And the other thing, too, is former First Lady Michelle Obama was very vocal about getting healthier foods into public schools.
Right.
Yeah. And so there was an effort during the Obama administration to push healthy eating.
Right. That was
and
so good.
It was
Right.
a good effort, and I'm hoping eventually we'll get back to that because I'm seeing more and more obese kids than ever before at a younger age with adult diseases like
Right.
high blood pressure and diabetes.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the First Lady Michelle Obama, still my First Lady, but
Right. This is
yes.
not a political show, but I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So she did it was a great effort to get more healthy foods into public schools. But I would also say to kids in public schools to start it. I know a lot of kids are like, oh no, I don't want to bring my lunch, but
Right.
start bringing your lunch, maybe some healthy snacks. Small changes over time
Yeah.
will develop into bigger changes. So instead of bringing, that bag of chips, bring some grapes, or instead of, getting a Slim Jim or from 7-Eleven, maybe go get some,
Nuts.
veggie straws. Veggie chips or nuts or things like that. So just swapping little things in your diet in the beginning.
And that's good because you're not going cold turkey. Most people, it's hard to go cold turkey when you're doing anything, when you're changing anything. Most people
Right.
don't like change.
Right.
So did you ease into the lifestyle or did you just go cold turkey once you saw the documentary?
At first, I just went cold turkey, and it kind of worked a little bit better for me because that's just sort of my personality.
Okay.
But I think it kind of caught up to me as time went on. So,
What do you mean? What caught up to you?
Going cold turkey, I didn't really wean my way out of it. So when I was exposed to these foods like, chicken wings and
Right.
things with my friends, I was like, oh, okay. Let me just take one. It's just going to be, a little one won't hurt. And so
You fell off the wagon when you went off to college.
Yes,
You
when I
did
went off to
well,
college.
I mean, to be a teenager, period, and decide to,
Right.
start a healthy lifestyle is, you need to be commended for that. But once you went off to college and you saw all of the different things in the cafeteria and all your friends were eating,
Well, yeah, at college, when you get to college, the food gets kind of routine. So there weren't many options to change up what I was eating. So I would just go get maybe a wrap or something or pasta every day, and it just got so boring.
monotonous, yeah.
And the things that they do change always have meat. They're meat-based meals.
Okay.
So I kind of started just getting very bored, and there were like wing Mondays and things like, and different days with meat a part of the meal. And so one day I was just so hungry, and my friends were just like, just eat a chicken wing. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And so I ate the chicken wing.
Oh.
And
then
I
you
kind of
slid
started,
back.
it became a habit. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, but you still balanced some of the meat with other things. I mean, you still stuck to eating
I was mostly plant-based. I
Okay.
wouldn't do it every day.
Okay.
Or, just on maybe wing Mondays, I would get a meal. But other than that, I still kept a majority plant-based diet.
Okay.
And even now that I'm fully vegetarian, I still, keep a well-balanced diet.
You do.
Yes.
Do you ever miss eating meat?
Not exactly. It just depends, because I did have some favorite foods. So when I'm around those foods, sometimes it's like, oh, I miss eating that. But 9 times out of 10, no, it's become very natural.
It is. Okay, now today, the good news is that you can go into almost any grocery store,
Right,
whether
yeah.
it's Whole Foods or a regular, Safeway, and there's a huge selection
Right.
of plant-based foods.
Oh, yeah.
So it's much easier for you to do your shopping, right?
Right. It's a lot easier, but a lot of people don't realize that being plant-based is not kind of discarding a lot of the foods that you already eat.
Okay,
So,
what is it? What is plant-based if it's not that?
So, like, plant-based foods are based around plants, but as a vegetarian, you eat rice, you eat beans, you eat a lot of the things that you already incorporate into your diet, except for the meat.
Okay.
So it's not like you have to discard your whole diet and then create a new one.
Okay.
You just have to get rid of the meat and then find an alternative.
And there are lots of alternatives in the grocery stores.
yeah.
What do they call those? Substitute meats?
Yeah, so substitution meats, I just call them veggie meat.
Yeah.
because they're made out of vegetables. So,
And they taste better today, too, because like 5, 6, 7 years ago, they tasted horrible.
Yeah.
And it was enough to turn you off and go back to eating regular meat. But
Exactly.
now those types of meats, substitute meats or veggie meats, taste almost like the real thing.
Yeah, they taste really good. So when you start using those products, it's kind of like you don't really even miss having the meat there.
Right, yeah. Because I started, I'm weaning myself off of chicken. I haven't eaten red meat in many years. I mostly eat fish, and I try to eat mostly veggie meats, the veggie
Right.
chickens, but I still am having a hard time kicking my habit of chicken. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere you
It is
go,
so
chicken,
easy
chicken,
to-
chicken.
It's so easy to get, yeah.
It is so, and it's cheap.
Yeah, it is
It's
very
so
cheap.
cheap. I
It's
mean,
affordable.
It's affordable. You run into the grocery store, you can get a rotisserie chicken for $5 and feed your family for the night.
Exactly. Or you can just run to McDonald's or something, pick up a quick meal.
Yeah, for
chicken
$1.
sandwich.
Yeah, so it has become less expensive, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back, and also we're going to talk about the ease of getting vegetarian meals or plant-based meals in restaurants now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great thing too. So you're going to stick around, right?
Yes, I will be here. Thank you.
Good. And I hope you stick around too. Stay tuned for more great information from millennial writer and health enthusiast Aysia Monet. I'm Sharon Morton. We'll be right back here on Skin Deep.
Do you need expert advice from successful business leaders on how to start, grow, and finance your business? Tune in every week to the Small Business Report at HUR Voices on SiriusXM Channel 141 with your hosts Carl Brown and Sharon Morton. The Small Business Report gives you, the small business owner, and those thinking about starting a business, expert advice from successful business leaders around the country. Visit us at smallbusinessreport.biz and like us on Facebook. The Small Business Report, giving you the tools you need to succeed.
And we're back here on Skin Deep. I'm your host, Sharon Morton, here having an informative discussion with millennial writer and health enthusiast Aysia Morton. Aysia, you provided us with some great information. Again, it's so good to see young people, really taking their health seriously. And you've done that by switching to being a vegetarian. In the last segment, we were talking about meat substitutes and how, it's much easier to change from regular meat to meat substitutes because they taste better. What about the expense? Like when you go into the grocery store, some of these things are quite expensive.
Yeah, no, it's always kind of puzzled me because plant-based things that come from the earth are more expensive than processed things.
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah.
But it can get expensive. When you do switch to being a vegetarian, you might kind of have to budget for it.
You will
and
have
you
to
will
budget.
have to budget for it
Right.
and kind of watch your expense a little bit more. But I would just say usually they're all pretty much the same, not in price. Sometimes they differ in price, but all the ingredients are the same. So if you need to go for maybe a store brand instead of
a name
brand item, just pick that up and it'll be like $2 or $3 cheaper, which really helps in the end.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing too is you said you go on YouTube a lot and you look at videos and they teach you how to eat.
So they kind of teach you how to eat as a vegetarian or vegan or pescatarian on a budget. So a lot of it has to do with food preparation, buying in bulk, and just buying things that go a long way. So like I was saying, beans, rice, soups, things that you can make one day and eat for the rest of the week, or change meals. So I would say make sure to do that.
Meal preparation is something that's important, but it's kind of hard to do that. So would you recommend that people just take 1 day or 2 days a week and prepare their meals for the rest of the week?
Yes. So usually what I try to do is on my Sunday, which is usually a relaxed day, I will start in the morning. And honestly, it doesn't take but a few hours. So you don't really need to block out a whole day. But start in the morning, get up and start prepping your meals. And then you'll be done by the afternoon. And you just have, 2 meals for each of the 2 days. So Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay, all right. That's good. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is restaurants. Like, we all like to eat out. And today, there's even more restaurants that are embracing this whole, plant-based diet, which is great. You don't have to just go to a restaurant, say an East Indian restaurant, to get plant-based food. You can go almost anywhere now, and they have healthy options.
Yeah, a lot
gluten-free, meatless,
vegan. Right. Yeah, a lot of restaurants are doing that now, probably because it's so popular. People are kind of demanding that that's what is brought to the table.
Right.
So really, you can go anywhere. I know you had Dr.
Dr. Farouk from Everlasting Life. Yeah.
Yes, and I love Everlasting Life. It's really good. And you don't just have to go to a vegan-based restaurant to get that stuff. I know like the Cheesecake Factory has vegan options.
Wow, okay.
A lot of different restaurants. So all you have to do is ask, honestly.
And the prices aren't that much different from a regular meal.
No, yeah. It's usually around the same price, maybe sometimes even a little bit cheaper.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. I wanted to ask you, Aysia, what's your goal? I mean, you're a vegetarian now. Are you looking to move toward being a vegan? And what's the difference between being a vegetarian and being a vegan?
Okay. So I would like to be a vegan. That is my goal one day. I kind of transition between vegetarian and vegan. So some weeks I won't eat dairy, and then some weeks I will kind of incorporate it into my diet.
Well, what's the difference between being a vegetarian and a vegan? Because you're talking about dairy. Is that the difference?
Yeah, so basically that's the difference. So vegans do not eat any type of meat products.
No fish either?
Oh, no seafood. So just
no
all
meat,
plants.
no seafood, no dairy.
Yeah.
All plant-based.
All plant-based, everything. Okay. Vegetarians, on the other hand, we do eat plant-based, but we also incorporate dairy and
fish.
No, that's
seafood.
Pescatarian.
Okay, but you do eat seafood, though. You eat fish, right?
I do eat fish occasionally, yes.
Okay, but vegetarians
do not.
They don't?
No, pescatarians eat fish and seafood.
Well, then what are you then? Are you a vegetarian, or are you a pescatarian, or are you a combination?
I'm a combination of both.
And the good news is that you can move back and forth between the two.
Yeah, it's your choice. So I don't really confine to one kind of label of what I am.
Yeah.
I just am kind of health conscious. But yeah, I move back on the spectrum. Sometimes I go a month without eating fish, or, and then sometimes I'll decide to get salmon when I go out. So It just really depends on you.
And the bottom line is that you don't eat meat at all.
I don't eat meat. Any chicken, red meat, anything.
Okay, now the dairy part of it. A lot of vegetarians, they don't eat dairy either. And there are a lot of dairy substitutes in the grocery stores as well. So do you take advantage of those dairy substitutes, or do you sometimes mix it and have regular dairy and the dairy substitutes?
So since I was young, I have been drinking milk substitutes. So
like rice milk, almond milk.
And then I started to get on, it's called plant-based milk. So it's kind of a mixture of a lot of different plant-based ingredients. And so...
How does it taste, though? Because I've tasted it, and I love rice milk. But the plant-based milk, I have to, I got to get used to it. Do you like it?
I like all of them. I don't drink soy milk, but I do like most milks. And like I said, it's a personal preference. So some milk is thicker than other milk.
Right.
It just depends on what you like, the textures and things that you like.
So in terms of dairy, you eat the dairy substitutes and drink the dairy substitutes.
Yeah, so
mostly. No cow's milk.
No
Okay.
cow's milk. Most times I will drink rice milk or plant-based milk, and I will add almond milk to my smoothies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of smoothies, I love smoothies. They're very easy to make.
Oh yeah.
You can do them very inexpensively.
Yeah. And put all of your, all the things you need. They're very nutritious. So when I do smoothies, I do fruit, vegetables. Sometimes I'll put some vitamins in there. Oats, and then flaxseed oil. I'll have everything in there. Nuts. You can put nuts in your smoothies, and it's just like one meal to go.
It is a meal replacement then? You use smoothies as a meal replacement?
Yeah, smoothies can be a meal replacement. Sometimes I have them with a meal if I'm just really hungry, but they can definitely be used as a meal replacement.
Now, I thought all this time that if all vegetarians were thin. Like, I see some vegetarians that could stand to lose a few pounds as well. So, one of the reasons I was thinking about being a vegetarian, which I'm almost there, was that I could lose some weight, but that hasn't happened. How can I, what should you do? I guess as a vegetarian, you have to still watch your calories.
Yeah,
you can't eat like a whole pot of rice and beans.
And you can also be a vegetarian and eat chips and junk food, and you have to consciously choose to eat healthily. So just because you're a vegetarian doesn't mean that you're always eating
healthy
plants and grass all the time. So
you're right.
You can still gain weight, and you have to also, just because you change your diet does not mean you can't work out, or you have to continue to be physically active.
Okay, so being a vegetarian just means that you've decided not to eat meat. You're eating a plant-based or having a plant-based lifestyle, but you have to do more than just that. You have to be conscious about your exercising.
You can't just change your diet and then expect osmosis.
Right. It's not going to just come along, right?
No.
Do you feel better? Do you notice a difference in the way you feel since you've become a vegetarian?
Oh, 100%. So I have so much more energy. And when I was kind of in that stage of eating meat and, kind of flip-flopping between, I feel the difference in my body. So
you feel worse, or you don't feel as good when you eat meat?
Yeah, I can definitely feel more sluggish.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more tired. So I definitely feel the positive effects of being a vegetarian and kind of taking meat out of my diet.
And is that what you think, or do you think most people should consider, being a vegetarian for those very reasons? It'll help them feel better?
Yeah, it'll help you feel better. Inside and out, my skin has changed. Just everything pretty much. And because you feel better, you have a more positive attitude about life. And so honestly, I think that a lot of people should consider it. If meat wasn't, filled with the chemicals and the pesticides and things that are in it now, then it would be a different story. But
yeah, you're right. Because when I was growing up, it didn't have all of those things in it, you know, and people were healthier, even eating a regular meat-based diet. But today, there's just so much in the food. How can people? Do you have an Instagram you want to share with folks, Aysia?
Oh, I do have an Instagram. My Instagram is IamCO_. And sorry, the O is actually a 0. IamC0_.
Okay, so if people want to go to your, Instagram page and see your, the effects of being a vegetarian, because you're very beautiful.
Thank you.
And you have great skin, so people can, if you want to see Aysia or get some more tips from her on easing into a vegetarian lifestyle, check out her Instagram. IamC0. Oh, I'm sorry. IamC0_. Aysia, you've been a great guest, great information.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I hope to get you back on the show in the near future, and you can share more, tips on what it's like. Maybe when you become a vegan, you can come back on the show, right?
Yeah, that might be a few years from now.
Well, that's it for now. I'm your host, Sharon Morton, and I hope that you take the information we provided today and use it to grow your health. You can check out my Instagram page at SKNDEEP, 2_. That's Skin Deep, SKNDEEP with 2_ at the end. And be sure to tune in again for another insightful and enlightening discussion on all things that are skin deep.